Tottenham Hotspur have gone crashing out of the FA Cup to Manchester City, which means this season is going to be another trophyless one for the mighty Spurs. They last won the Premier League in 1961, the FA Cup in 1991, and the Carabao Cup in 2008. So today, we're going to be trying to end the barren run of trophyless Spurs and get them their first trophy. We're going to be doing it with one of the kids with incredible signings and lots of money spent. So let's see how we can rebuild the mighty Tottenham Hotspur. So we already know the absolute superstar that is Harry Kane is over at Bayern Munich, and I am not against selling the other superstar, Heung-min Son. This guy is absolutely fantastic in FM and fantastic in real life, but with a value of 72 to 86 million pounds to fully rebuild this Tottenham Hotspur team and to take them to the next level, I think you have to move on from a 31-year-old Heung-min Son as well. So at the end of this season, we're going to be saying to the pops to Heung-min Son as well as Harry Kane from last season. Maybe one day we'll get them both back in to finish off this rebuild. What a reunite sand that would be to have Heung-min Son and Kane back together. But this time we are picking up in the January updated transfer database. 39 points, just 4 points off the top of the league. It's not impossible to win the league this season, but I highly doubt it's going to go ahead and happen. Obviously, this updated database as well cannot predict the FA Cup results that are set to come or the Carabao Cup results. Luckily, we were knocked down the second round of the Carabao Cup by Luton, so that's going to be nice and realistic. The FA Cup we are, of course, still in. As I record this, the game against City happened just yesterday, so there's absolutely no way for me to rig that result yet, so we are not quite there. We are at the start of January. I'm not sure if we're going to make any signings just yet, because I do actually quite like this Spurs team. Now, if we look at the best team selected, there is talent littered throughout the whole starting 11. In goal, Guillermo Ricardo has been a fantastic signing this season. Pedro Porro at right back and Destiny Udogie at left back suit this attacking wing back system down to a T. Two centre backs in Cristian Romero and Mickey van der Ven are also both fantastic, with two very aggressive, very good footballers in Yves Bissouma and Pape Matar Sarr in CDM. In Cam, James Maddison has been a revelation at Spurs so far. Brand new signing Timo Werner is going to sit on left wing for the second half of this season, with Dejan Kulusevski on the right hand side, with Heung-min Son up front as the advanced forward on attack. We have, of course, got the other brand new signing here, Radu Dragusin, signed from Genoa for a pretty hefty fee, I believe, in real life as well. On the game, just 4.7 million, but this guy does look very good, just 21 years of age. I'm unsure if he's ever going to make it fully in FM. I think in real life, he's a much better prospect than FM have him at. I believe in the winter update, he's going to get a big old boost because he looks okay, but just okay. He doesn't look absolutely fantastic and certainly doesn't look as good as our very good centre-back partnership of Romero and Mickey van der Ven. So we're going to have a tough break getting into this team. One of the best things here about Spurs, though, is the fantastic youth talent that is here at the club. Alfie Devine, Ashley Phillips, Alfie Dorrington, obviously Radu Dragusin, Will Lancashire, Alio Velis is a fantastic young striker, as is Junsons Bell, and they've got the best young winger on the game, bar Lamine Yamal, I'd say, and that is Mickey Moore. This guy looks absolutely fantastic, 5-star potential. If you've never used this guy in FM, he blows up. He is an absolute superstar, just 16 years of age, and hopefully we can get him in this rebuild to being a decent Premier League player at the age of 21 years of age. That would be absolutely fantastic to see if we can go ahead and do that. Pretty scary that 5 years in the future he will be just 21. But let's get into the second half of this first season and see what we can do with the mighty Spurs. We're going to do no transfers, just go into it and see what they can win. Well, I suppose in a lucky/unlucky way, we have been knocked out of the FA Cup, sadly to Norwich, which is absolutely abysmal, losing 3-1, but it means we're not going to go ahead and win that one, so we're going to keep it ultra realistic. And FM predicts Spurs are going to finish in 5th position, just a point away from Arsenal. Manchester City on 84 points, Liverpool on 82 points, but Aston Villa are going to carry on this ridiculous run of form and hit 87 points, which is going to make this rebuild in particular even harder, because it means not only are we going to have to battle with Manchester City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Manchester United, Newcastle, Chelsea, Aston Villa are really going to be in the mix over the next 5 years, as they have now got the reputation of a Premier League winning club. So fair play to Aston Villa. They have absolutely smashed it. The likes of Ollie Watkins, Moussa Diaby, Douglas Luiz. Do you want to see an Aston Villa rebuild on the channel? That could be very good fun, and see if we can emulate what that unbelievable team went ahead and done in this rebuild with Spurs. In terms of our team and how we performed in this second half of the season, goals were pretty hard to come by. It was a little bit of a drip-drab season. You can see from the goals and assists there, it wasn't fantastic. As we look at the data hub-wise, it's a little bit skew because obviously we've simmed a half of the season in a broken way to get the exact results, but 1.87 goals per game, 0.54 conceded per game, so very good defensively, not quite as good going forward. Heung-min Son with just 7 goals in 15 games. Manor Solomon in 4 starts, 5 goals and 4 assists. Could be an absolute superstar. He looks absolutely brilliant, can play on either wing and could become an absolute superstar in the wing positions. He does love big matches, has got fantastic dribbling, decent enough pace, and could be a superstar. So we'll see what Manor Solomon can go ahead and become. Timo Werner in the second half of the season didn't really have much to contribute. 7 games, 4 goals is incredibly impressive, but there wasn't really much for us to go ahead and compete for. He's managed to get us Champions League football. Thank you to the UEFA coefficients ranking and 5th place being enough, but he didn't really contribute too much and he doesn't make much difference being here. And the only other person I want to touch on is Radu Dragusin. Like I said, this guy, for some reason, FM does not have the potential he does probably have in real life. So he is now just a 3-star potential player, now a good championship centre-back. That is an absolute lie. He is fantastic in real life. Go and watch him over on YouTube, and I'm sure we'll see him over at Spurs over the next sort of few weeks and months to finish off the season. He is an absolute baller. He is very consistent, loves big matches, very, very aggressive, but I'm sad to say I don't think we're going to see too much of Radu in this rebuild. He's going to be in the squad, but will he ever make it? I'm not 100% sure. Now, we have got a fair bit of money to go and spend, £75 million, £900,000 in wage budget, and like I have mentioned already, Heung-min Son is going to go out the door. He's got a value of 70 to 90 million pounds. If we can get anywhere in that sort of region, I will for sure be saying goodbye to Heung-min Son, because at 31 years of age, going ahead and turning 32 very, very shortly, I think is a sale we have to go ahead and make, and that'll increase the finances, that'll increase the transfer budget. And obviously here at Spurs, there is a pretty large debt because of the new stadium, £520 million in just that, and £700 million in debt overall. So there's a lot of money to go ahead and clear. There's a lot of money in the bank, so I'm not too worried about us going bankrupt. But player sales like that, I mean, like the Harry Kane one that happened, like the Gareth Bale one that happened 7, 8, 9 years ago, however long that was ago. That's scary that it was even that far ago. Player that sales like that seem to happen at Spurs, and then they go and you know, sell someone on for 100 million, buy 5 or 6 players for 20 million each, and invest the money quite smartly. So that's going to be the play here with selling Heung-min Son. So let's see season 2 what signings we can make. And very quickly, I want to say a massive shout out to the legends on Patreon right now. You are quite literally helping make my dreams come true, getting the equipment we need, making this channel as good as it can be with the support you do give over on Patreon. Of course, you do get the rebuild files as well, whether it's that end of season 1, so you can pick up from exactly where we just finished off the season 1, or the end of season 5, where hopefully I've taken Spurs to be one of the biggest teams in the world, and you want to carry on that Spurs legacy. That'll all be down in the Patreon below. And also a shout out to the comment section as well, because I'm really trying to stop saying go ahead, and I did not want to get everyone drunk by shots when Kempi says go ahead. So I hope you're noticing so far, go ahead has toned itself down. I've recorded this 50 times already because I keep noticing it and laughing that I say go ahead. So go ahead if you're doing shots, but yeah, don't do shots while watching Kempi. Let's get into season 2. Well, Heung-min Son has headed off to Al Ittihad in Saudi Arabia, and we got a hefty old sum for him, £95 million. Thank you, Heung-min Son, one of the best wingers the Premier League will ever see. Just a £22 million signing from Bayer Leverkusen back in 2016, and is going to be remembered as one of the best Asian footballers of all time, one of the best South Korean footballers of all time, and one of the best Premier League wingers of all time. Heung-min Son, salute to you, sir. But go and enjoy your Saudi money on £1 million a week, and we will enjoy that nice £95 million. We also went ahead and sold Giovanni Lo Celso to the same club, Al Ittihad, for £21 million. 28 years of age, raised a good sum of money for him as well. So thank you, Gio Lo Celso. And the only other major sale we made was Brian Healer's moved to Bayer Leverkusen, £9.25 million. He's a decent young winger, but for me, he's never going to progress to the next level. And I think Manor Solomon is a much, much better player to go ahead and get in. So my first signing is a player that I are heavily linked with in real life, and that is Antonio Nusa. We did disable the rest of the January transfer window because the signings of Werner and Dragusin were already in. But Nusa is heavily linked to Spurs, and I thought we'll get him in on this rebuild, and we'll replace Brian Gill with hopefully a better wonder kid winger. So welcome in Mr. Nusa. He has got fantastic pace, fantastic fantastic dribbling, fantastic flair, very good on either feet, and is very consistent. So hopefully Nusa can be a superstar for us. We have brought in a young backup striker and someone that, to be honest, I just wanted to see how good he was on FM. That is Nicholas Giacchini. This guy is an American striker who's got 8 caps for the US of A, scoring 3 goals. Good determination, good finishing, good pace. He's actually never going to really do much here, I don't believe. 2.5 million is all we sign him for. I've just seen this guy mentioned a hell of a lot in real life recently, moving to big sides, and he's consistent. He loves a big match and seems like a sort of Spursy signing, sort of taking a gamble on someone and seeing if they can do it. He is back at St. Louis City to see if he can take them to the next level as well for the rest of their season. And hopefully he can come back to us and be a fairly decent player. I'm not too sure how it's going to turn out, but it's a fun little signing to see what he can do. And if not, it was £2.5 million. We'll write it off expenses. Number signing 3 is Jan-Paul van Hecke. This guy for me is a fantastic young Dutch centre-back from Brighton. A hefty signing of £43.5 million. But for me, just replaces Radu Dragusin. Dragusin, sad, like I said, is not going to be good enough on this FM in particular. Hopefully winter update FM, they give him a massive boot. But right now, we needed another centre-back to sort of compete with Romero, Vicky van der Ven, Jan-Paul van Hecke. The centre-back partnership of van der Ven and Paul van Hecke excites me a lot. This guy's consistent, loves a big match, great determination, great aggression, great marking, great tackling, great heading, and very quick as well. Just 6'2". This guy hopefully can become an absolute superstar for us. And then before I get into the next signing, I have to talk about a very big and probably a very controversial sale, and that is Yves Bissouma. Now, this guy is absolutely fantastic. Do not get me wrong. I'm a huge fan of Yves Bissouma, but £55 million from Newcastle came a-calling. He had just a 6.83 average rating at the end of last season. And if I've learned anything about FM in recent times, it is to go with players that are performing well on the pitch. And this guy was not cutting the mustard. He is extremely consistent. He loves a big match, and his stats are absolutely outrageous. He has progressed leaps and bounds in the last 6 months after Ange Postecoglou era at Spurs. But sadly for me, Bissouma has left to go to Newcastle. So we have gone ahead and replaced him with someone who I think is absolutely fantastic and massively, massively underrated in real life. And that is João Gomez. £35.5 million from Wolves. Dropped to 6.92 with 3 goals and 3 assists. And with the stats that he has got, I think is a superstar central midfielder to sit next to Pape Mateta Sarr. That young DM partnership excites me a lot. So João Gomez, Mateta Sarr as our 2 DMs. He's not quite as good as Bissouma, we know that. He's not quite got the potential of him either. But just the CDM partnership with them two excites me a lot. He is very consistent and, again, an aggressive ball-playing midfielder that I like a hell of a lot. So João Gomez, welcome into the club. £35.5 million. Well spent, in my opinion. A young central attack midfielder to come ahead and back up James Maddison is Jovan Šilević. This guy is a Serbian cam coming in from Crvena Zvezda in Serbia. Looks very, very good. Has put in some good performances so far in his male adult career. But hopefully here at Spurs, he can be that absolute superstar and turn into a very good young cam. Like I said, with James Maddison being so good, it is going to be hard for him to get a lot of game time, but that's sort of what he's here for. Maddison's little backup, because Maddison is going to play basically every single game because he is a superstar. So Šilević hopefully can progress into something as a backup cam. If not, for £2.9 million is certainly worth the risk. And a striker that I have found using sort of my Moneyball search criteria that I often use now on rebuilds is Philip Bundegaard. This guy come up in a search criteria for young wonder kids under the age of 21, and then I put him in to the Moneyball approach, and he dropped a 7.31 average rating, scoring 12 goals in 17 games over at Randers in Denmark. 18 aggression, 18 agility, 14 finishing, 12 composure, 15 determination, 5'10", consistent, and looks very, very good at just 20 years of age. His picture, he looks about 12. But here on FM, he is 20. So hopefully, Bundegaard can be a fantastic young backup striker to the replacement of Heung-min Son. And that man is not the cover star. This is Matthias Tell. This guy is fantastic and signed from Bayern Munich. I think this is a very realistic signing, in my opinion. Signed for Bayern Munich from Rennes for £22 million. Is doing very well at Bayern Munich, but maybe struggling to break into the first team at a whole level when being a superstar. Whereas here at Spurs, he can come in, be the number 9 and dominate the front line for years to come. So Matthias Tell is here. Great finishing, great determination, great flair, great pace. I do not believe star ratings at all in this game sometimes. 2.5 star and a decent Premier League player. absolute lies. This guy is going to come in and absolute smash it. And when you look at the team we have created for this season, it excites me a lot. Vicario in goal, Porro at right back. I've put Dragusin at centre back, but we all know Romero is going to start there ahead of him. Mickey van der Ven at left centre back, Destiny Odoji at left back, Joao Gomez and Papi Mateta in DM, with Kuliszewski, Madison, Manuel Solomon and Matthias Tell as the front four. Alfie Whiteman as the backup goalkeeper, Emerson Royale, Dragusin, Van Poel, Van Hecke, Ryan Sessegnon, Bentancur, Højbjerg, Brennan Johnson, Silvic, Nusa, Bundegaard, Forster, Ben Davies, Jamie Donnelly are all still here at the club, and that is a very, very good squad. So let's see what we can do for season number 3. So this season is another trophyless season, but I believe we have made absolute leaps and bounds. Looking at this league position chart, once we got into the top 3, we did not let it go. 83 points this season, 10 points behind Manchester City, which is fair enough. Chelsea on 82, having a big resurgence as well. Aston Villa, league winners, dropping down to 7th place, and probably, I imagine, Unai Emery's got sacked there, hasn't he? He has, but Zinedine Zidane is in his manager, so we should still see an Aston Villa resurgent. But I'm very happy with the Premier League season. I think we have made an absolute massive progression. Dejan Kulusevski with 19 goals for us this season and a 7.37 average rating is very, very exciting. Nervous to see no striker on that list. Now, as we head into the Champions League, you can see we've got quarter-final by Manchester City, 4-2 on aggregate, who went ahead and got knocked out in the semi-finals. No, they didn't. They beat PSG. They lost in the final to AC Milan. That's a little bit embarrassing, City, but I will laugh at you and say that is absolutely hilarious. FA Cup, we're starting to get a bit of a nemesis here with Norwich, and I feel like this is a massive opportunity to go ahead and win the FA Cup as well, because we lost 3-2 to Norwich. Manchester United lost 1-0 to Burnley. So the final of the FA Cup was Burnley versus Norwich, and Spurs have still not won a trophy. Yeah, that's a little bit rubbish, isn't it? There's not a lot I can do about it. It's just the FM luck. And Carabao Cup-wise, we got knocked out in the 4th round by Newcastle, losing 2-1. Again, frustrating. No trophies. Even the Carabao Cup right now would taste so sweet. And the reason I think this season didn't quite go as well as I hoped is I thought Matthias Tell was going to come in and, you know, replace Heung-min Son and bag 40 goals. In fact, he was fairly average. 19 goals, 2 assists in 43 games, a 6.87 average rating. But as a 20-year-old, I think that's still pretty good. I still don't believe this star rating at all. A leading championship striker, absolute rubbish. This guy is still a very, very good Premier League striker and will go ahead and smash it. But Dejan Kulusevski this year did get us out of the mud and carried us in to 2nd place in the Premier League. Great dribbling, anticipation, technique, passing and pace. 25 goals and 6 assists in 43 games. He has had his breakout season, and Brennan Johnson again was someone that this season took a massive step up. 15 goals, 7 assists in 39 games. He was not the man I was expecting to go ahead and smash it this season. I was expecting the legend that is Manuel Solomon to go ahead and absolutely kill it. But in just 37 games, he scored 9 goals and got 6 assists, which is pretty much what he got last season in 4 games. So he had a massive fall off, and sadly is now going to be over to leave the club. And thank God for that as well, because he has been absolutely useless. But overall, I thought this squad was very, very good. There is just a few places that we are going to go ahead and improve on. Joao Gomez last season was fairly average in DM, so maybe a superstar central defensive midfielder. Sarr is that guy who will be playing in DM for the rest of this rebuild. I've moved Matthias Tell out into the left wing position, where I think he is going to be fantastic, with Madison in cam and Kulusevski off the right. So a brand new striker is needed to come in and bag some goals. So let's see who we can go ahead and sign. In terms of transfer fund, we have got a hell of a lot of money because our overall balance is sitting at £453 million, and we are chopping away at that debt. So signings should be coming in here at Spurs. So season 3, let's see who we can bring in. The cover star is who we have brought in this summer. Karim Adeyemi, £91 million. Way too much money for what I wanted to spend, but that was his release clause, and I've recently used him in a Borussia Dortmund rebuild, and trust me, this guy turns into one of the best strikers on the game. He's got 13 finishing and 12 composure, which you might not think is the greatest thing, but as an advanced forward, speed is everything. 19 acceleration, 19 pace, 16 determination, and 16 aggression. He loves big matches. He's a little bit injury prone, which scares me, but £91 million is what what we had to spend to bring him in. He's not been on goal scoring form really this sort of rebuild so far over at Dortmund, but hopefully that is all about to change. I've put every single egg I've got into the basket of Karim Adeyemi because I went ahead and made another signing as well, and that is Youssoufa Moukoko. So we have taken the 2 Dortmund strikers, and we have got one which is an absolute bagman on 16 finishing, 14 composure, and we have got a speed demon in Karim Adeyemi. Moukoko was £37.5 million, and I'm hoping him and Adeyemi can rotate. Both very young, both German strikers can hopefully come in here at Spurs and make a huge difference. Lots and lots of money spent. And as you actually look at our front three of Matthias Tell, Adeyemi, and Youssoufa Moukoko, that is just full of German wonder kids, well, Bundesliga wonder kids, obviously Tell being French from Bayern Munich. We have made a big sale, and that is in Christian Romero. He has left to Manchester United. I'm a huge fan of Romero in real life, but I think the signing of Jan-Paul Van Hecke, so we can hopefully get Dragusin into the team as well, and using Mickey van der Ven, Romero has left to United. Bit of an unrealistic one, but this isn't a realistic rebuild. This is a fun rebuild to get Spurs back to the top. The realistic rebuilds will be coming as soon as that January update drops. The realistic season starts, and we'll have 2 or 3 months of rebuilding the best teams over the world in a realistic manner. So someone like Romero wouldn't be leaving here at Spurs. He'll be staying pretty much for the rest of his career. Rodrigo Bentancur, another one that has left the club. He's gone to Chelsea on loan for the season with a potential purchase of £65 million. So a sale which I'm not too unhappy to go ahead and facilitate for, because we have brought in some absolute superstars, and youngster Adam Wharton, the English DM, is one of them. Brought in from Blackburn, great first touch, great vision, great pace, great determination. This guy can take it up to the next step. 5-star potential, 2.5-star current ability, and again, comparing him to Bentancur is not quite the same player, but with the rotation options we've got in DM, I think it comes in and suits this team down to a T. And the last signing is one that's happened in real life, and he's finally here at the club, and that is Luka Vuskovic. This guy is fantastic in real life, a young centre-back that they have signed from Hajduk Split over in Croatia, I believe. Very consistent, very good centre-back. Hopefully can become a superstar here at the club. And I don't know why I said that was the last signing, because there is 2 more still to go to. A young backup goalkeeper in Elia Caprile can hopefully become best mates with Guillermo Vicario, and them 2 can just be buddies, and we can have 2 Italian goalkeepers that can just rotate. One can play cup, one can play superstar games in the Premier League. Of course, the guy in the Premier League will be Vicario, but having someone like Caprile to be his best mate in the goalkeeping union is key. And then a young right back in Sam Curtis. I've not seen this guy since last year's FM, where we smashed it with Wrexham, and this guy was our superstar. Well, he's had quite a big buff on this year's FM, and as a backup Premier League right back, I think he's absolutely brilliant. He's got blue in pretty much every stat we need him to have it in. He's an attacking wing-back, decent Premier League player, and signed for £425,000. So if you've never used Sam Curtis, go ahead and pick him up. He's an absolute bargain. But the team here at Spurs is looking like so. Vicario in goal, Pedro Porro, Van Hecke, Van der Ven, Udogie, Wharton, Sarr, Kulusevski, Madison, Tell, Adeyemi, Caprile, Curtis, Dragusin, Ashley Phillips is now in as a backup centre-back. Ben Davies, Højbjerg, Joao Gomez, Brennan Johnson, Alfie Devine, Antonio Nusa, Moukoko, Forster, Skip, Salomon and Bunagada all still here as well. Hopefully some going out on loan, hopefully some being sold. In terms of players that are progressing well in terms of wonder kids, Dorrington has still got 5-star potential, looks great. Jovan Silovic, who we signed last season, is going out on loan to hopefully get some more game time. Same for Vuskovic. Hopefully we can get that loan secured. Mickey Moore, or Mikey Moore it might be, is progressing very well. He's getting a lot quicker, which is good to see. Hopefully maybe next season he can go out on loan and become a superstar. That might be the play. He now goes on loan for a couple of years and then comes in for season 5. So let's see season 3, how can we do? Well, for the first time since 1991, Tottenham Hotspur are FA Cup winners. Spurs fans, I bet that feels good. It is a long time in waiting, but in the first sort of 5-10 minutes, Dejan Kulusevski gets us off to a great start. Adeyemi then shows his blistering pace and finds a ball into James Maddison, who gets us 2-0 ahead. But 2 years ago now, Premier League winners Aston Villa get a goal back thanks to Ollie Watkins, but we were not done there yet. Paul Van Hecke to the right-hand side, a very weird player to be in there. Moukoko gets brought down in the box, but it falls to Maddison, and he pokes it home for 3-1, and then Joao Gomez out wide to Destiny Udogie on the left-hand side is going to get into the byline, get a ball in, and Manuel Solomon pokes home for 4-1. Lucky he's out of the club as he helped us lift a trophy there. The starting team for this game was Vicario, Porro, Van Hecke, Van der Ven, Udogie, Sarr, Skip, Madison, Kulusevski, Tell, and Adeyemi. Got a fantastic game up front for us and turned into a bit of a provider in that one with a 7.5 average rating. I'm very happy to finally lift a trophy here at Spurs. Now, as we head into the Carabao Cup, sadly, we were third rounded by Arsenal, which is never good, but that was on penalties and there's not much we can do about that. And there's actually a player here who's smashing it at West Ham, who, if you have not seen the Porto rebuild, turns into one of the best players in the world, and we sold him for £60 million. Here at West Ham, they picked him up for £6 million, which shows the bargain you can sign Danny Namaso for in your saves. A little bit of a Kempi universe switch there. Danny Namaso, if you can find him, and if you've not watched that Porto rebuild, he is an absolute baller. That is a Moneyball rebuild as well, so it's great fun to go ahead and watch. Quarter-final by Manchester City seems to be a recurring sort of theme here. We lost 7-4 in aggregate, which is very, very frustrating, but it is what it is. We obviously lost 5-3 in one of the games, which is ridiculous because the next one was 2-1. So that was a little bit frustrating, but one thing that is not frustrating is the first time since 1961, Tottenham Hotspur are Premier League winners. 90 points, 28 wins, 6 draws and 4 losses. We've done it. We've got ahead. We've won the FA Cup. We've won the Premier League. It is absolutely fantastic. There is a long way to go in this rebuild still, but by making brave decisions in terms of sales, selling superstars like Christian Romero, Heung-min Son, Rodrigo Bentancur, replacing them with youngsters that are passionate and can go ahead and do it, I think that is something that is going to happen with Spurs in real life. I really do think Ange Postecoglou is onto something at Spurs, signing players that people might not have heard of, or trusting players like Mateta Sarr when other managers slightly didn't. Younger players with a lot of passion, playing that aggressive, fast, front football play. Spurs can go ahead and do this in real life, I think. Genuinely, I believe that as well. And here on the Film Manager, we've done it with a few additional signings. Assist-wise, Madison and Porro, 13 and 12. Average rating, Jed Spence dropped to 7.37. He only played 12 games, but dropped 11 assists. So fantastic for Jed Spence. Obviously, he's at Genoa in real life as part of the Jalagiasin deal, but has come back to Spurs and been a bit part player for us, which is great to see. And Mateta Sarr with a 7.33. As is your bog standard CDM on support as well. That is absolutely outrageous. 5 goals and 7 assists. Very, very impressive from Mateta Sarr. And in terms of our goal scorers this season, there is no surprise to me that Karim Adeyemi is at the top of this list. 23 goals and 8 assists in 46 games. Just a 6.99 average rating, but I think that's going to carry on going up. Now £103 million in value, and with that ridiculous pace, it's always going to score just so many goals, and has lifted a Premier League trophy for us now, which is great to see. James Maddison had his superstar season, 19 goals and 18 assists. Kulusevski, 17 goals, 15 assists. Moukoko as the backup to Adeyemi, 12 starts, 32 off the bench, 14 goals. That is exactly why we signed the both of them. So the overall 37 goals is absolutely fine. Brennan Johnson, 14 goals and 5 assists, still very good. Philip Bundegarden on loan to Sunderland scored 11 goals in 41 games as well. Van der Ven with 9. Matthias Tell, 8 goals and 9 assists, very good. Pedro Porro, 20 assists is pretty decent as well. Matthias Tell is getting there now. He's progressing now, a 3.5 star ability player according to the star ratings. Still, I don't really look at him too much because when you look at the guy's stats, he is super. But as our left inside forward, 21 years of age, he is progressing very, very nicely and can still go on to be one of the best players in the world. I'm just absolutely buzzing that we've got ahead and done that. We've got some £65 million in the transfer budget. Debt now is down to 543, which is decent. Still £400 million in the bank, but it's going to be hard to clear that off because it's just the stadium fund. I don't know if you can actually even go ahead and clear it off. In terms of the loans that were out, like I said, Bundegaard was fantastic in terms of average ratings. We look at it. Adio Valiz, again, is someone that I implore you guys to use on FM. Maybe not at Spurs, is not the level, but at a top championship level, lower Premier League level, this guy can be a superstar and did very well over at Cardiff, dropping 20 goals in just 36 games. So season 3, let's see 3, we've done that one, completed it. So season 4, transfers-wise, to add to this already Premier League winner side, can we go back-to-back and can we potentially lift a Champions League? That is the goal for season 4. And due to the age profile of the squad, there is only one signing to bring in, and that is Rico Lewis, signed from Manchester City. He is a fantastic player on this year's FM, but wants some more game time, even though he played 30 games at City last season, was transfer listed for £63 million. I decided to spend every single penny to go ahead and get him, because now a CDM4, a quartet of Rico Lewis and Adam Wharton, and then Joao Gomez and Papa Mateta Sarr, is young, exciting, and absolutely fantastic. He's got a value of 111 to 129 million pounds, and as you can see from his training schedules, we are locking him in to this ball-winning midfielder role on support. He is going to become one of the best DMs in the world. Rico Lewis, retraining position, an absolute superstar. He's extremely consistent, and like I said, the only signing for this summer. The only other sale we made was Rodrigo Bentancur, went ahead and joined Chelsea for 74 million pounds. There's still 35 million quid in the bank and 500k in wages, but like I've said, I'm not really too fussed in going ahead and spending too much money when we don't really need to. There's a lot of debt at the club, down to 476 million pounds, which we could pretty much pay the whole thing off with this balance now, which is good to see. We are pretty much there in terms of that, and the squad, as I've said, is looking fantastic. The Wonder Kids here are progressing well. Vicario in goal, Porro at right back, Van Hecke and Van der Ven at centre back, Udoji at left back, Lewis and Sarr in DM, Kulusevski, Madison, Tell and Adiem. And as our backups now, Caprile, Sam Curtis, Dragiasin, Vuskovic, Ben Davies, Adam Wharton, Joao Gomez, Antonio Nusa, Alfie Devine, Mikey Moore, and Yusufa Makoko. Moore is finally up into the first team after killing it in the sort of the under-21s, under-18s, etc. It's been the time to bring him up to that next level, and hopefully he can absolutely smash it. Alfie Devine, the exact same, has been on loan at Plymouth, but apart from that, has been killing it in the under-21s. So it's time for him to be a backup cam to James Madison. And Antonio Nusa, someone we've not really touched on because he's hardly played a game for us in the 2 seasons so far, and when he has played, he's not done a lot. And again, this guy, I think, in the winter update is going to get a big old boost, so look out for him sort of end of February, early March, I think is when we get that update. Antonio Nusa. So yeah, hopefully he can still be good in this save, but not going to become an absolute superstar. Adeyemi again this season, hopefully can break 30 goals and a 7 average rate. It would be great. Matthias Tell looking fantastic, and I'm just excited to see what this team can do. Can we now go sort of back to back in the Premier League? We've got the Premier League, Champions League, FA Cup, Carabao Cup, and the Community Shield to go ahead and win. So season 4, what's it going to be? Full of drama is what it's going to be, because here against Arsenal in extra time, we take a 1-goal lead thanks to a Sergio Reguilon ball into Yusuf and Makoko. Arsenal are going to get one back in the 98th minute thanks to Kai Havertz, but in the 105th minute, Spurs fans are going to love this one because Gabriel is about to drop an own goal, and Spurs win back-to-back FA Cups. Like I said, 1991 was the last time, now 2025 and 2026, Spurs go back-to-back and our FA Cup winners yet again, which is fantastic to see. But that is it for this season. 4th round in the Carabao Cup by Manchester City, runners-up in the Community Shield, Champions League quarter-final by Manchester United, and we lost the Premier League trophy by 1 point against Manchester City. Please tell me we didn't lose to Arsenal. We did, away from home, 4-0. Absolutely embarrassing. That would have been it. A goal and a win there, or even a point. We wouldn't have won it on goal difference. A win somewhere would have beat Man City and gone back-to-back, but City's dominance carries on, and they have gone ahead and won that one. Well, don't worry, Spurs fans. Hopefully at this point in real life, they'll be down in League 2 and we'll all be laughing at them. And Erling Haaland might be at Spurs in real life. Who knows? But yeah, a decent enough season. Pedro Porro, again, with 20 assists. Absolutely fantastic. Goals-wise, Matthias Tell took #1 spot. We've believed in him this whole rebuild. 25 goals and 8 assists is an absolute killer. 4-star, leading Premier League player. Consistent. Loves a big match, great acceleration, great pace, great flair, great dribbling, a superstar player. Makoko this season was our star striker, 23 goals and 4 assists, replacing Karim Adeyemi up front with 40 games and 23 goals. But that is because Karim Adeyemi, wherever he may be on this long list of players, managed to go ahead and break his ankle in January and was unregistered for the second half of the season, which is a little bit heartbreaking for him. 31 games overall, 9 goals and 5 assists with a broken ankle. cool. We'll take it. That 91 million is looking a bit pricey, but still, there's room for him to grow for Germany. He's absolutely smashing it, averaging a goal every other game. But still, I believe this guy is going to break out in Season 5 and be a superstar. Madison, 18 and 11. Kulusevski, 11 and 14. Porro with 25 assists overall. Rico Lewis slotted into that DM role next to Mateta Sarr like an absolute dream. He dropped 7 and 7. Sarr at 5 and 5. Jan-Paul van Hecke, one of the hardest names to say, by the way. Next to Mickey van der Ven have been fantastic, the two Dutch centre-backs as well. It's a very exciting time to be a Spurs fan. But no Champions League still, which means Season 5, we've not won the Carabao Cup yet. We've not won the Champions League yet. I would love to win the Premier League again and FA Cup again, but I'm not 100% fussed. I want to complete the clean sweep. Over the 5 years, we win the Premier League, the Champions League, the Carabao Cup, and the FA Cup. So let's see for Season 5 the transfers we make to make that next step. And well, for the first time in Kempi Rebuild history, there has not been a signing. No signings in a summer. A few sales for decent money. Skip, Solomon, Højbjerg, Brennan Johnson's left the club as well. A few players going out on loan. But when you look at the superstar squad we've got here at Spurs, there really is no need to go ahead and make too many signings. The youngsters are fantastic, which means our backups are brilliant. Our first team is stunning. Vicario in goal. Porro, Van Hecke, Van der Ven, Udogie, Lewis, Sarr, Madison, Kulusevski, Tell, and now Makoko as our striker. Caprile, Vuskovic, the brand new signing they've signed in real life. Joao Gomez, Adeyemi, Radu Dragusin, Adam Wharton, Philip Bundegaard, Ashley Phillips, Alfie Devine, Mickey Moore, Sam Curtis, and Antonio Nusa. Mikey Moore last season played 12 games and got 2 goals and 3 assists, which for me is very, very impressive in his debut season in the Premier League and looks like an absolute superstar. I genuinely think this season he might break out into that first team as well and become a starter, maybe ahead of Matthias Tell. We shall go ahead and see. But no signings to report in Season 5 because I don't think we need to. Genuinely, we're just here to clear the debt, increase the balance, and get rid of this horrible stadium debt and make Spurs one of the best teams in the world. Now down to just £261 million in net debt. We have £95 million we could go ahead and spend, but like I've said, why on earth would we do it? So Season 5, let's see what trophies we can win. For me, the best way to kickstart your season is winning the Community Shield, and that is what we went ahead and done. Thanks to Erling Haaland missed penalty and a Dejan Kulusevski double here for Spurs. We ticked off another trophy, which is the 5th best trophy, of course, of this rebuild, but the Community Shield in a 2-0 win. Kulusevski, thank you very much, ticking that one off. And then moving on to a trophy which not a lot of people care about, not a lot of people put a lot of weight about. But for the completion of this rebuild, I think it is vital that we won the Carabao Cup as well. I've got no idea what Robert Sanchez is doing there. Alfie Devine getting the ball in the box and Makoko finishing off. Kulusevski down the right-hand side is going to beat everyone. Find the ball back to Mateta Sarr and he finds the top corner in the 115th minute. The Carabao Cup, for the first time since 2008, has also been brought back to Spurs. So the only thing left to go ahead and win is the Champions League because the Carabao Cup, FA Cup, Premier League, Community Shield is all ticked off. But the Champions League is, of course, a big old step. And we haven't got past these semi-finals yet, I don't believe. We keep being met up against Manchester City. Well, this time we did manage to go ahead and get to that final. We faced off against AC Milan, who won it in the first season in this rebuild, but this season it wasn't meant to be because James Maddison in 40 seconds gets us off to a fantastic start before Pedro Porro whips it in and a Mickey van der Ven header makes it 2-0. Van Paul Hecke, Sarr, Pedro Porro down the right-hand side is going to drill a ball in the box and Kulusevski is there for 3-0. And in the 55th minute, Jan-Paul van Hecke, Adeyemi, Pedro Porro driven into the box, finds Maddison and it's 4-0. And the mighty Spurs have lifted the Champions League. I've actually done it. I've won every single trophy with a team that can't win trophies. Tell me I'm not the greatest rebuilder of all time, because also in this season we completed the knockoff treble by also winning the Premier League, Champions League and Carabao Cup. Sadly, it's not the real treble because we weren't lucky enough to win the FA Cup in this season, but 84 points, 26 wins, 6 draws, 6 losses. Makoko with 21 goals. Alfie Devine with a 7.36 average rating, started 27 games, 10 off the bench, 10 goals, 8 assists. We've even brought through a Spurs man in real life as well, which is great to see. So Alfie Devine, welcome into the Spurs first team. Dejan Kulusevski, 20 goals, 11 assists, a world-class winger at this point, 7.26 average rating. unbelievable player, and I can't believe he's at Spurs. He's one of my favourite players in real life, and he's been absolutely killing it recently as well. Just looking through sort of how players did in terms of goals, etc. Moukoko dropped 34 goals and got 5 assists in 45 games. A real superstar, is now one of the best strikers in the world. 45 games and 95 here at Spurs. A much better record than he had over at Dortmund. Is now the Germany striker as well. 26 caps, 14 goals, pure pace, great composure, great finishing. How's his old pal Krumediemi getting on? Well, as a sort of rotational option at left wing and at striker, 17 goals, 6 assists in 37 games, smashing it over in Germany. Outrageous pace, and again, that's something I'm very happy with. That £91 million is bang in the middle of his value. Consistent, loves big matches, still only 26 years of age. Matthias Tell, 24 goals, 13 assists in 59 games. Another absolute superstar, consistent, loves big matches. A fantastic sign at the start of this rebuild. Philip Bundegaard hasn't had too much sort of chance to break into the first team, but if you guys are looking for a cheap wonder-kid striker, this guy could be your guy. He is great, and maybe for you will be a superstar striker. Maddison has been very consistent for the whole rebuild. 12 goals, 12 assists. Alfie Devine, 10 goals, 8 assists. Adoji, 13 assists. Pedro Porro, 24 assists. Antonio Nusa, not getting much out of him, sadly. But a very, very strong rebuild. The age profile of this Spurs team is at an all-time low, really. 20 to 28, and then 2 31-year-olds in Vicario and Maddison. So a very young, strong side. And actually, the last person I want to check on is Mikey Moore. Did he play much this season? 4 start, 22 off the bench. Maybe not going to make it to that top level, but that's down for you guys on Patreon to see if you can go ahead and do that one. There is a recommended rebuild down there, and the video I recommend you go ahead and watch after watching this one. Thank you so much for watching. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll speak to you next time.